Brilliant!
Brilliant! Welcome to another episode of What It Is. I'm Kelly McKinney of Hohenheim Productions.
And I'm Josh Gibson from Fourth Wall Players.
And this week, we are very late on discussing Lizzie McGuire. The reboot is on
I've been waiting
hiatus.
for it for so long.
We've been just chomping at the bit. We've been crying for it for years, right, Josh? The showrunner leaves amid differences with Disney Plus.
Bullshit.
And Disney spokesperson are quoting it as creative differences. And this is less for me about a Lizzie McGuire reboot and more to me about the fact that the showrunner left amid differences with Disney Plus, creative differences. And so I guess the question here is if there was any hope for this to be a good series, was it dependent on Minsky? And if so, did he actually walk away from the show, or did Disney Plus decided they didn't like the direction he was going and fire him? Right?
That's a good question. I know in the little synopsis it says it's supposed to be about her about to turn 30, and she seemingly has a perfect life, but her 13-year-old animated alter ego is helping her navigate adulthood or whatever. And that's cool, I guess. But unless they have her, like, in a straitjacket or something in the beginning, or have some sort of, like, dependency issue, which I'm not advocating for at all, but she's still talking to her 13-year-old animated alter ego, like...
Right. That to me says that there's some sort of psychological issue there if her alter ego is still 13.
Yeah.
And then also, to me, that whole synopsis just reads show confusion. Are we catering this towards adults, children, teens, preteens? Who is supposed to be watching this?
Yeah.
If it's for us, were we attached to Lizzie McGuire and her life and the funny way that they explored her life as a teenager? Or were we addicted to her alter ego? Right? Like,
right.
I was never... The best part of the show when I was growing up, was Hilary Duff.
Hilary Duff was cute. I mean, we all had crushes on her.
And not her fucking animated self. Like,
no one cared about it. It was like an afterthought.
Right. The only thing that I appreciated about the animated alter ego of Lizzie McGuire is that it reminded me so much of stuff that animes do.
Right.
With alter egos.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that, like, made me geek out about that little part of Lizzie McGuire. And
it was a kind of inventive way of having exposition dumps, I think.
Well, and
like, it wasn't just a voiceover, you know.
For me, it was one of the few shows at the time that was represented by, that had a character that I felt represented by, the nerdy guy who couldn't get noticed by the pretty girl who had a crush on her.
Right.
That was also, hey, look at this video.
Famous.
Who was a video
zone.
freak. Yeah. I mean, but he's a video nerd like I am, like Josh is, like we all are. So it's like, that was another thing that catered towards me, because it's like just like her friend Jake, right? Is that what his name was?
No, he was Gordo. Jake was the cute boy.
Jake was the cute boy. Okay.
Jake was the cute boy.
Okay, Gordo. Yeah, but Gordo represented at the time our demographic and from our point of view, because we all like Lizzie, right? Oh, that's why boys watched it. So for me, I don't understand.
I watched it for the animated character.
So confused. I just feel like they're so confused, and I don't know whether it's Disney Plus who's confused. Who gave this. Who gave this synopsis, right? Was it the Disney Plus team, or was it the showrunner? And if so, what sort of split are we going to see from this? Because right now, this show looks, just the synopsis, I wouldn't want to watch it. It's a mess. I'd give it the first episode to spin to me, and I have a 3-episode rule.
Right, yeah. I don't think it'll work. I'm afraid if they do it, it's going to go the route of, well, it doesn't sound like it from the synopsis, but it's going to go the route of, now she's the parent and her daughter is... or her son or whatever is traversing this or that. The only time I think that worked as a concept was when they took Boy Meets World and made it into Girl Meets World, because of the fact that you did have the opposite view on how navigating high school and whatnot would work, and also you got to see Corey Matthews and Topanga Matthews fairly well written as parents The show wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but
for me, it was the child actors that I couldn't get attached to.
Right, exactly.
We
that was the
already
issue.
have an emotional attachment to the characters of Topanga
and
and Corey.
It was very hard getting attached to those girls. It wasn't necessarily their bad. I mean, it was the way they were written, or the way I'm not sure what the issue was, but and maybe it's because we're 30-year-old men, so it's hard for us to attach to 12-year-old girls. Thank God for that.
Right.
And so maybe that's what our issue is. Huh?
I was just thinking of I was just wondering now if Gordo is supposed to be part of the series. Hold on. Lizzie will still be played by Duff.
It doesn't actually say specifically on there, but
teasers for the reboot she posted on Instagram. She's standing next to co-star Adam Lamberg, who plays her child character's best friend in the series Gordo. And I think that's in today's series. I'm saying the newest series. So this looks like he might have been on set.
I was saying the picture's on set. So I think Gordo's part of it. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I'm sorry. I could really care less about this whole thing. I'm sorry. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you that this whole rebooting thing. When we just talked about Firefly being rebooted, but I agree with you that it's just too far. I'm sorry, not everything. I know people have been bitching for 20 years about let's create something new, and I'm not trying to even advocate that. Just put a different spin on it, guys. Stop being now the 8-year-old is a parent and they have an 8-year-old that's going through the exact same life issues.
Right.
That's just wrong to me.
It's just repetitive. Well, and see, in this, so I just tried to think for a moment as a Lizzie McGuire fan. If there was anything that I would want to see, right? Just from the synopsis they put up, take out the 13-year-old self, bull crap, the animated 13-year-old self. Make it about her life, her perfect life falling apart. And Gordo, make it like this is us.
Gordo picking up the pieces.
And Gordo picking up the pieces like he should have always been there. And then how about working with some real psychological issues, and Gordo dealing with the fact that he had been there the whole time, and now he has the chance, and it's maybe he's struggling with himself. It's I finally got what I wanted, but fucking hell, I've been here for 17 years? I mean, if she was 13 and now she's 30, 17 years waiting in the wings, and I've always been your second choice. That's gotta fuck with a man, right?
Yeah, isn't that how the character from You got started? I have no idea. I just heard that.
I'm just trying to think. I don't think that was his backstory. Twisted, demented bookstore owner. No, that wasn't it at all.
The big twist at the end of season 3 of You is going to be Joe is actually Gordo.
Joe is. You know what?
There's your twist.
That would make the series for me. If this was if the new Lizzie McGuire reboot was a prequel to You, and we found out Gordo was
a prequel. I like that.
And Lizzie McGuire had changed her name to Cassandra Stone, and
oh no, I just think Lizzie McGuire is the first girl.
Happened.
I just think Lizzie McGuire is the first girl that Joe falls in love with, and probably even I don't know. Is he a serial killer? That's all I work out. I know he's a stalker.
Not really. Yes and no.
Okay, so maybe he just runs her out of town. I have no idea.
I don't know if serial killer is the right. I'd have to look up the specific term. Okay, so in the comments below,
so what do you
is
think?
Lizzie McGuire a serial killer? That's a really simple yes or no question. That wasn't it?
Is Gordo a serial killer?
I thought we were talking about Lizzie.
Either or.
Okay, let's be they're not even going to let me get ready until you like and subscribe and find us on Patreon.
That's so many words.
I'm not going to leave you alone until you say this. It's real. The threat is real.
At least make me a cue card, and this is ambush. I was in here, there was zen, it was peaceful. I was just trying to get ready. I don't even have eyes on.